Okay. So what they tend to ask in the exam, and I've seen it a lot, and it seems to be a standard thing with Linux, and you guys can know this, is they asking you multiple ways to do the same job. So it doesn't help if you, for example, say add a user. It doesn't help you only understand user mod. You have to know how add user. You have to use your user mod. You have to know. Remember, we talked about adding the password into the password file. You have to know all the commands, or you have to know alternative commands to get to the same results. So that's quite important. So when you're learning, remember that. Do not learn only one command, learn all the commands that is in the book. Okay. Then something that we didn't discuss last time, remember we talked about the password file. Who was here for the last meeting, by the way? Can I just have a thumbs up, please, so I can see? Okay. So in the last meeting, we had a quick talk about the password file. Let me just open up something here. Ta-da! There should be a little program key here. We got some here. Let me see if I'll get this environment. There we go. Okay, that we want to Ubuntu one. There we go. Let me no. Okay, so we talked about the password file, and this is an important concept to understand. I didn't think they had it in the book, but it looks like they do. So when we look at the password file, remember that we had the password file, and in the password file it said that the first one is your username, the second one is your password, the third one is your ID. What's it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Group ID. That one is just a descriptive name, your root directory, and your shell. Okay, but you see that the password just has a little X in it. Okay, now I'm going to give you a bit of a history lesson here, but what the hell? So what used to happen is the passwords used to be stored here. Okay, they were encrypted, but what the guys used to do is they'd log into Linux, because as a user you need access to that directory. So as a user, you need to be able to see the password file to be able to log in and stuff. Okay. The problem with that is what the guys used to do is they take the password file, they download it, and then they take it home and then they try to crack the passwords. So you can't just crack the password. You can just read the password off because they were encrypted. So what they've done is they've changed the system. So instead of having a file that you can see by everybody, the passwords are now stored in a separate file called a shadow file. Okay, which you can see you don't have access to as a normal user. And if you look at the shadow file now, that then only contains the passwords basically. So you'll see that a lot of these is just got little stars in, which means they don't have passwords. You can't log in with them. Okay, and then here at the back, here's the password. You can see it's encrypted. And so there's my password. Okay. Now what's cool about this encryption is even if I give you this, you can't decrypt it. It's unencryptable, undecryptable. You have to go forward. So you have to try all the passwords you know against this. So it just works forward. So what it does is it takes your password, it then encrypts it, and then it compares the encryption. Okay, and but you can't go the other way. You can't go from this what's called a hash. You can't go from the hash back to the password. Okay, it only goes one way. So even if I copy this and I give it to you, you won't be able to know what my password is. The only way to do it is to literally take my password and then encrypted multiple, try different passwords until you found the right password. Okay, so this is quite important. They do talk about it. These numbers here are just dates and times. Okay, so you just check quickly what exactly the format is. I sort of forgot because you never work this directly. Let me just open it, make sure that he knows what I'm talking about. Password, last change date, min age, etc. Max age. And they are stored in days. Okay. So how this works is this is just a time specification.
Dude,
Yes.
sorry. My mic was on.
Okay. That is just a time specification. That is just a time specification. So this first field tells you what's the last time the person logged in. This one tells you minimum days that the password has to be active before you can change it, how long before you have to change it, how many days before the password expires before it gets warning. Yes?
Which command did you use to get here? I think it was etc something shadow. Okay,
Yes. That's the
thank
command.
you.
You could have used Joe. I don't know if Joe installed or Nano. I think you guys are using Nano. Are you using Nano or Joe?
Nano.
You could have used Nano. I don't really use it, so I'm just going no. You could have used something called Joe as well. Again, the problem is you have so many commands. When I open, and this is, you might as well learn. This is something that you can take when you actually you work professionally in Linux. Is you can use a couple of commands. You can say cat shadow, which lists the file. Okay, but it just lists it. You can use vi or Joe. Okay, so I can say nano and shadow, and it's going to open up the file. The problem here is if I make a mistake, if I type the wrong thing and I make a mistake and then I screw up my file and I save it by mistake, you have a problem. So what we tend to do is we use a command called less. Okay, have you guys heard about the more command? Thumbs up if you've heard about the more command. Not more. Thumbs up. Nobody heard about the mom. Okay, so here's what happens. Okay, if I've got a very long file, okay, it's longer than the screen. Okay, so it's a problem to read. So what you can do is you can use something called more. And what it'll do is it'll print one page. And then if you press a space, it prints the second page. If you press a space, it does. So in other words, it pages. It's called a pager. In Linux, we call it a pager. It just basically takes a file and it pages it for you. That's the more command, okay? The less command goes for more or less. That allows you to scroll through it, okay? The reason why we use it is it doesn't allow you to edit the file. So I just view the file. So I can't by mistake type something in here and edit the file, okay? My file is now protected. So that's typically what we would do is we just use less. We don't use VI. I opened up in VI, but you generally don't need to do that. Okay, but these are just dates. The way that these dates work is, okay, they are the number of days since 1970 0101. Let me just confirm if it's 1970. Can't remember what it is. Yeah, 1917. 0101. Okay. So what they basically do is that is literally they just count the number of days from that date onwards till today, and that's what they use for the day there. This is just a day. Okay. This is a standard thing. This is called an epoch. This is the day that all Unix time starts. Okay. What's nice about that is if you do that, so the two ones that you get a lot is it's either seconds from the epoch or it's day from the epoch. What's nice about that is you can imagine if you just count the seconds from from 1970, if you want to add an hour, all you do is you just add 3,600 seconds and you've got an hour. If you want to add a day, you just add the number of seconds for the day and you add it. So you don't have to worry about if a month is longer or shorter and stuff like that. You just do that. So that's how this works. That's why the Unix uses a number. It doesn't use a date as such. It converts it into a number. Then you do all your calculations with the number and then converts it back into a date. So it's just some information that you can use at some later stage. Okay, let's get back to the actual work. Okay. So we discussed the shadow file. Now we need to discuss something called regular expressions. Thumbs down if you've never heard about a regular expression. Some thumbs up for the guys that actually heard about this. Know what a regular expression is. There's only 2 people in the group. Guys, I need interaction. I'm not going to do this. I'm not a teacher. I don't have to be here. So I need interaction with you guys. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time. Okay. So if you haven't heard about a regular expression, and it's something that they have asked in the exam, so you sort of have to figure out what the regular expression is. Okay. Do you know what a wildcard is? Ever heard about wildcards? Okay. And wildcard in terms of computers? Okay, cool. So let's discuss a wildcard. Okay. A wildcard is exactly what it says. Remember in when we play cards, a wildcard is like a joker. It means that that card can represent any other card. You guys, just give me a second. I just need to do something here. And I'm back. Okay, so let's say, for example, I say that star is my wild card. Okay, if I would write a word, give me a word. Somebody give me a word, quick. Any word or any sentence.
Pizza.
Pizza. So pizza. Pizza. Okay. It's a wild card. Therefore, what I can do is I can replace any of the letters with a star. Okay. Now that star can represent any letters. If I say a P star Z A, so if I say P star Z A, that can represent pizza. It can represent pizza. It can represent pizza, etc. So in other words, a wildcard character can represent any other character. You can place any other character with it. Okay. Thumbs up if you guys understand that concept. Not yet. Okay. Naomi, tell me, what are you struggling with in terms of the concept? Naomi, do you have a microphone that's working? You can just put in the chat if you don't. Or you can just give me a little shaky head or something just to let me know that you can't respond. Okay, let's try somebody else. Okay, so there's two people that said that don't understand the concept of wildcard. Any one of you guys want to just tell me what you're struggling with in terms of the concept?
I think I just didn't hear you properly because I wanna actually now leave and join with my laptop. So,
Okay.
yeah, I wasn't honestly listening properly, so I just wanna get settled.
Okay, cool. Okay, so the wildcard just replaces a character with another character. Now, a regular expression is a language that you can use to describe text. Okay, so in other words, if I want to say, think in terms of PLA. If I want to say, I want to compare, I want to look for characters that start with A. So, for example, I've got a list of words, and I want to know all the words that start with an A. Okay, with a normal wildcard, we can literally do A star, and now what will happen is it'll look for all the words that starts with an A. Now, regular expressions allows you to become really complex when it comes to these things. Okay, and I'm just going to quickly ask chat here. Where's chat? Mr. Chat? Where's Mr. Chat? Mr. Chat. Okay. Give me list of regular expression. Okay, there we go. Okay. So the wildcard characters is dot, which means any character. We've got D for digit. These are the standard ones. I'm thinking I'm going to show you that one later. Okay. We've got that one, which means start of a string. We've got this one, which means the $sign, which means end of a string. We've got multiply, that means, or star, that means 0 or more. P plus, which means 1 or more. We've got question, which means 0 or 1. Okay. And regular expressions is difficult. You have to actually go and learn them. Okay. So what I can do is I can say this. AB question CD E. Right. So let's get somebody to match. So that is the regular expression. I don't think I'm explaining this quite well, but let's just hope. Let's see if somebody actually understands. So anybody that wants to try, just put your finger up to say, I need somebody to interact with there. Okay. So A, B, C, D, E will match A, B, C, D, E. Okay, because it means 0 or 1 matches. But it will also match A, B, okay, K, C, D, E, A, B, L, C, D, E, A, B, P, C, D, E. Okay.
Wait, doesn't the question mark stand for 0 or 1? So
Sorry, 0 or
isn't
1.
it like a
Character
placeholder?
is a placeholder.
Okay, so
That's
all
a
of
good
these are
question.
placeholders.
Yes. This one
Like,
stands for 0 or more. So this one, you're right. You are right. You are so right. Thank you for reminding me. You're actually right. It stands for 0 or 1. Guys, I just explained everything wrong to you guys. I'm so sorry. She was so right. This would not match.
Oh. Isn't it supposed to? Wait, no, don't. Isn't it only supposed to be instead of a question mark, it's a dot? Or I don't know,
Yeah,
power
so-
of sign.
Okay, so
Equals.
if I do A, B, question mark, C, D, it means that that one will match and that one will match. That's the only two that will match.
It's
Am I
very
right?
confusing. Yeah.
But it is confusing. It is really confusing. Okay, so these characters, the star, the plus, and the question mark, okay, these ones, let's just do this. Okay, refer to the previous character. Okay, so they're special. Okay. So what they mean is that if I say question mark here, it means that I'm expecting 0 or 1 of the previous character. So
Okay, that makes sense.
that makes a bit more sense. Okay. So in other words, if I say A, B, C, D, E, it means there's 1 of B, therefore it'll work. Or I can say A, C, D, E, which means there's 0 of B, so that will work. Okay. Now, what we can do is, so let me just explain the other ones to you, and then we'll play around with it just to give you a better understanding. So a plus character means there must be at least one, but there can be more. So if I do this, that will match. A, B, C, D, E, that will match. Yay! That will match. This one will not match because it's looking at the previous character. So it's looking at, let me just put the B in there. Sorry. Okay. So it's looking at the B character and it's looking for at least one B, but there could be more. So A, B, C, D, E will match because there's at least one B. This will not match because the B is missing. Okay. But that one will match. Okay. Do you understand that? Thumbs up if you do, thumbs down if I need to explain it slightly more carefully. Okay.
Wait, let me tell
Can you
you.
just explain the asterisks again?
Okay. The first one was just a wildcard character. In other words, that was just to explain the concept that you can replace that to mean something else. So it's not a literal. But the asterisk means something. So you get something called a wildcard, which is different to a regular expression. So we'll talk about the asterisk just now. So the idea of the asterisk was just to understand the concept of a wildcard. Okay. Okay. So I think let's just get something. Nita, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a character. So that one there is the regular expression. And I'm going to write something down here. And you tell me if that's going to match or not.
When you say if that's gonna match or not, are you saying is it like correct?
Yeah. So if I say this is my regular expression, this is the characters that I'm sending to it. Okay. Okay. I want to say this regular expression, okay, will fit this pattern. So this is a pattern. This is.
Can I ask the
Yes.
expression affect any other character than the one that is next to? Because you're missing a C there.
Exactly. So in other words, it won't match.
Okay.
That's exactly what you're saying. That's exactly the point, is that we're missing a C, therefore this will not match. What is a better character for it won't match?
Question mark.
Oh, so we just keep with the question mark. Okay. Okay. But how about this one?
It doesn't match.
Okay, so that doesn't match because it needs one. How about this?
It matches.
Okay, it matches because it only looks at the first characters. It ignores the end, and so that one matches. So if this happens, so if I do this, A, B, C, D, this will also match because
Isn't the
that's
second one, sorry, isn't the second one supposed to be an exclamation mark when it doesn't match? Or,
okay, that one matches.
No,
okay.
I think he does an exclamation mark when it matches.
Okay, let's just
Oh,
okay, okay. Let's get a pattern here. Let's just I don't know. I need something that says good versus bad.
I think maybe just write question mark equals good.
Hold on.
Is bad.
How about that?
Oh,
Okay. So this one will not match. This one will not match. This one will match. This one will match. Okay.
mm.
And you can see that because we've got the A, B, C, D, E there. There's an A, there's at least one B, and then C, D, E. But you can have multiple B's there. That'll also work. Okay. The star means 0 or more. And again, it refers to the previous character. So let's say I've got this. I've got LKJ star L. Oh no, because this is easier to remember. Okay. So that is my pattern. And then I say, okay, match for me LK LMN. And that's an I. That should be an I. So the question is, does that match?
Yes, it matches.
It matches because the K can be 0 or more. So if I put a K in there, if I put multiple Ks in there, it matches. Okay.
So if there's 0 or more, 1 is also okay, right? Like if there's 1K.
1, yes. 1 or more. In other words, 0 or more. So it could be missing or it could be there. Question means 0 or 1. So for example, if that was a question mark, I struggle to type in a question mark. What will happen here? Will this match yes or no?
No.
It won't match because you only need one. So that is important. So these ones refers to the previous characters. Remember, a match can be anywhere. Okay, anywhere within that string if it matches. You guys understand this much quicker than I did. It took me forever to understand these things. Okay, cool. Guys that still don't get it, thumbs down quickly. Let me just see if we need to work through it slowly again.
I kind of do get it, but I'm trying to understand like which part, like what is the point of all of this? Is it for searching?
The point of all is this so you can pass your test because they're going to ask this in the test.
No, I mean like actual context.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
you are
that's important.
saying, yes, I just need context to understand. When you say refer to the previous character, you mean a regular expression is going to be laid out and they are going to highlight that particular character that we'll have to assess or whatever.
No, what you're going to have is we're going to have a command like this. They're going to ask you, how do you find all the groups or all the users that belong to the developers group? Use grep and etc pass flip off etc password. Sorry, etc group. They'll ask you a question like that. The answer is cat etc group, and I don't know why this thing insists on doing that, but okay. Okay, cat etc group, pipe, grep, developers, for example. That there, okay, is a regular expression. Or I can give you a command to say, find all the users that names start with A. And the rest is the same. So I can then do cat etc flip off etc password. Sorry, the thing does that. Grep A. That'll give me all the users that start with an A, or with an A, a C, and an E. Give you the same result. So that's the type of questions they've been asking in the thing. Okay, so that's where it's used. It's used mostly to filter content or to match content. Yes, funny or phony or basilisk or whatever.
But regarding the test, is it multiple choice?
All of it's multiple choice, but it's hard multiple choice.
Oh, so it's like choose the most correct answer.
Yeah, they'll ask you a couple of questions, and three of them, if you look at the question, okay, of the four questions, all four look correct. You need to know the details to know which one is actually correct. It's not like the normal when they give you multiple choice, you can obviously see what the answer is. With the Linux stuff, there's like four questions and all four look correct, and you have to know exactly. You have to know exactly which one is correct. You can't just guess.
Thank you.
Yeah. So okay. So we asked about the relevance of this.
Yeah, well, it was not necessarily the relevance, but just more context.
Okay, but are you okay? Is that enough context for you, or do you need to go into?
You were still finishing your point towards the end. So find all the users with A,
Yeah, and
C, and E.
that's that command. You see, it
Mm,
starts looking
okay.
complex now already.
Yeah.
Okay, this command will literally look for all the users in there with that starts with A, C, and E. That question's answer is this.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So let's just go through all the characters. We already did all these ones. Okay. Then these ones are reasonably easy. The string starts or ends end of the string. So what you can do is I can do this. Okay. Now if I you put it inside. Okay, there we go. So now what it says is we need to start with A. In other words, this one will match, won't match it. This will match, but this one won't match because that A, B, C, E is now in the middle. Okay, that's what the caret signs mean. The dollar means end of the string. Okay, of all these ones, that one won't match. A, B, this one will not match. This one won't match either because this is in the beginning and there's characters behind it. So this one means that it has to be an exact match. If I, for example, do this, it means it has to be an exact match. If this is anything other than A, B, C, D, E, it will not match. That will match, but will not match. Even space A, B, C, D, E will not match. Okay, so that's your beginning and end character. And then this dot character, all that means is any character. Okay, so the question is, will AZCDE match? Okay, let's. Oh, Mickey. Hello, Mickey.
Hello.
Mickey. You're so fine. You're so fine. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
So, well, if you look at this character here, so we said the dot means any character. There's
No,
there's the pattern. Will this match? Yes or no?
I don't. Oh. Row match.
It'll match. Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys are getting mad at. Okay, great. So those are the standard ones. Now what happens is within those patterns. Okay, so these are the easy stuff. Okay, so we had the easy stuff here. So we have some characters that we can match. We then have something that says I can repeat the characters, or I can have 0 more, 1 or more, etc. Okay. Now things get complicated. Okay. What I can do is I can use, let me just see if it's here. There it is. I can use this. I can use brackets. And let's just take the B there. So I've got a bracket. What that brackets means is match anything inside the bracket. So I can change my pattern and say, okay, fine, let's do this. There's your pattern. Okay. Now I say, will this still match? Mickey?
What do the brackets stand for again? Is it
Match anything within. In other words, it could be an A, it could be a B, or it could be a C.
also it can be any order basically?
Yes. Yes.
Also it won't match. It won't match.
No, it will match. Look at
Wait,
that.
why?
So what you would do is the way that you would interpret it is the way that you work through the program. So you'll go and say ABC. In other words, it has to be an A, B, or a C. So we go, is there an A, B, or a C? Yes, there is. So that one matches. Then there's a dot, which means it could be in a character. Z matches. Then we see there's C, a D, and a E. There's a C, a D, and a E. Is it at the end of the yes, it is. So that one will match.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's do this. CZ, yeah.
Can I please just understand something? So within the brackets, right? Is it a must that there has to be an A, B, or C?
Yes, it means it has to match any one of those characters within the brackets.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, how about this one? So we just Dominique. Hello, Dominique. You haven't spoken tonight yet. Is Dominique with us?
Hello.
Hi. So do you think this one matches or no?
I think so.
Okay, so you're true. Because we can do the same thing. We say A, B, or C. In other words, is there an A, B, or a C? Yes, the first character is an A, B, and a C. So we can say that one is true. Then it's a dot, which means it can be any character. K is any character, so that one matches. Is there C, D, and E? Yes, it's a C, D, and E. Okay, and then there's a dollar sign at the end, which means it doesn't matter. So let's look at this one, Dominic, see if you can match this one. Does that one match, yes or no?
No.
Nope. No, it doesn't match. No, you're right, it doesn't. Ha ha. Sorry. You guys are smarter than me. I shouldn't teach you because then I do that, then I do badly and you guys do all well and then I feel so bad about it. Okay, so that's matching. So matching inside the brackets, anything inside the brackets. I can do stuff like, for example, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which means it matches any number. Okay, so you can see where the power comes in now. So for example, if I want to match any number, I can literally go number and we want to match any number 0 to 9, and we can literally say, what should we say? Question mark. Okay, so question marks means either nothing or a number, or we can say that, which means it'll match 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, whatever. Okay, there's another tricks I'll show you just now that it can also do. Okay. So what we can also do, we can do this. Okay, let's go through, will this match? And we'll stick with Dominique. We'll go to somebody else just now. Dominique, do you think that will match? Actual flag, it will match. How about this? Sorry. Will that match?
What does that sign mean again?
What does?
The sign mean again?
It means start with.
It means, okay, so this is where things gets a bit complicated. If this is at the beginning of the line, it means start with. If it's within the bracket, it means not.
Meaning it shouldn't start with an A.
It shouldn't start with an A. That's exactly right.
Oh,
So
then
with
the
this,
first one doesn't match.
so the first one doesn't match. Okay. Second one.
It matches.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't know.
Yeah. It says that means not A, B, or C. Is that A, B, or a C? So let's just do this. So let's just go work through it again. So that one means whatever's in there, that one means which means that it shouldn't be an A, B, or a C. Is that a C? Yes,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a C. Therefore, that one doesn't match. How about that one?
No, that one will match.
That one will match. Okay. So those are the brackets, and then just go on to. So what we could also do is there's a couple of shortcuts. Which I think you guys will immediately catch. Guess what that means?
Any number from 0 to 9, letter. Yeah, we get it.
Okay, so that one you should just summa get. So I can now do this. So now I've already got a bit of a shortcut. And I'm going to do this. So what will that do? And we've now let's go to Mickey. Mickey, actually no. Where's Mr. Basilisk? Best list. I'm sorry. I don't know.
I'm here.
I'm here. Okay, so if you look at that regular expression, what does it do?
The 09091.
Yeah.
If the specific digit falls in between any of these numbers, it does not match.
Okay, so let's look at the number. So will this match?
Nope.
No. How about this one?
Nope.
And no, it will match.
Oh, it will match.
Yeah. Think about it.
Zero.
1, 2, 3 digits. So does the first one match? Yes, it does. Does the
Oh.
second one match? Yes, it does. Does the third? Oh, sorry, 0. Does the third one match? Yes, it does. There you go.
Wait, doesn't you see that up arrow thing?
Yes.
Wait, what does that one mean?
Okay. If it's in the beginning of the line like that, outside the bracket, it means at the beginning of the line.
Oh, okay.
Dollar means at the end. So it depends on where you have it. If it's inside the bracket, it means not.
Does not match. Oh.
Oh, okay. So exactly. So what you did just now, if it was like this, now that completely changes it.
Oh.
Okay, so that will match. This will still not match this. On the other hand, will it match or not?
It will match.
Well, that will now match. But for example, 910
It won't match.
won't match. Okay, so that's exactly. So in other words, now we've got these matching things. Okay, so
Oh,
that is what this square bracket means.
the square bracket. Oh, okay.
Okay. Now what happens is now there's a little bit of a problem, and you guys, okay, thumbs up those that know what an escape character is. We did do it. They have done it in class, but you guys might not understand the concept. Okay. So when we have a regular expression, so I'm writing a regular expression. Go, okay, my regular expression is P dot LQ question mark JK star. Okay. There's my regular expression. I'm now very proud of my regular expression. Now the problem is I want to match a dot. But the dot means something different here. Okay. So what the escape character means is escape character means I am changing that so that backslash there replaces that. So instead of meaning it, the dot in the form, now that means actual dot. That's all an escape character is. It means that instead of it having its proper meaning, which is in this case any character, it now changes the meaning to something else, which is just a dot. So let's just do that. Let's put something more, sorry. Let's put something in there that's interesting. Okay. Will this match?
No.
It won't match.
No.
Not? How about this one?
Yes. No, it won't match.
Okay, you got that. Exactly. So that's all the escape character is. So that allows us to put a question mark in or a star in there or a dot in there. In Linux, you have to be very careful about escape characters because depending which program you use, they might switch things around. So I've had, for example, in grep that you use this escape character, and then the other one, what happens, the star actually means star, and the backslash star. So you just have to be careful of those. You have to know what the escape character is, which characters you can use and you can't use.
So can I ask? So the backsplash just indicates that it changes the character. So now that you put a backsplash on a star, does that mean whatever's next to the backsplash becomes a star?
Yes.
Okay.
So that'll now match that.
Okay.
That'll now match, yes. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go back to. So we have done the inner character, we've done the Garretts and stuff like that. Okay, those are the ones. Yes.
I wanted to ask, could you please re-explain the escape character? I just don't get the why A is included when you use the example blank.
Okay, let's have a look here. Okay, so I have these characters. So what does the dot mean?
Any character.
That's any character. The person that just asked me about the Skype characters, I want you to answer, please. Character. What does the question mark means?
The question mark, doesn't it mean 0 or 1?
0 or 1. What does the star mean?
Star, doesn't it mean 0 or more?
0 or more. Okay. Now there's a problem. If I want to actually match a dot instead of any character, I have to find a way to do it. So what I can do is I can put a slash dot in front of that. What does that mean?
Would that mean that is that the escape one?
Yeah, that's the escape one.
Uh,
That's what happens. So if I do, so remember the dot means any character. So the backslash dot means dot. The backslash star means star. And the backslash question mark means question mark. It's called an escape. Not catching it.
no, I'm just wondering why it's used.
Okay, the reason why it's used is because these characters have different meanings. So
Oh,
what happens is you have these characters that have a different meaning. So what you want to do is if you want to actually match those characters properly, okay, you have to have those you have to have a way to actually put that character in there to actually being able to match that character. That's what's used. Okay. Sometimes they use it the other way around. They just decided that these characters mean something, and if you want to have the actual, they call it a literal. And by the way, we do that in PNA as well. They actually do talk about the Skype character there. It's a literal. It just means that we are changing the meaning of the dot to something else.
I see.
Okay, if you don't see, tell me, then we'll talk about it a bit more. So if I say my regular expression is A, B, C, question mark. Okay, what will that match? Will this will that match, yes or no?
It won't match.
Okay, that won't match. Okay. A, how about this?
Uh, it won't match.
It won't match.
Uh,
Wait, why doesn't the second one match? Oh, okay. So
say
I see it.
it doesn't match.
Right, will match.
What will see question mark?
A
A
matches. Your dot matches. The B matches. It's much easier if you don't have to copy and paste. No,
mm,
the dot matches.
the question mark.
The C matches and question mark matches.
Oh, I see.
So that's not all match. Okay, those are the most important ones. I'm going to go through the other ones quickly. So now you've got the basic concepts. Okay, and these concepts are quite important. So now we've had the zero or more, we've got one or more characters, and they each have a little meaning. We've got like the escape character. We talked about the different types of brackets. Where are they? Are they not here? Why are they not here? Okay. We've talked about the square brackets, what they mean. We've talked about the A to Z type thing, and there's a couple of those that you can use, 0 to 9. Okay. What happens is, remember, we had a regular expression that looked like this. Okay. What happens if I want to match like 10 of these? I need to literally repeat this now 10 times. Now, lucky we've got something called copy and paste, which makes it easier. Okay. Okay. But there's another way to do it. Match exactly. And I'm so glad you guys did maths. Otherwise, you would never understand this shit.
Oh wait, can I quickly ask something before we move on too much? With regards to an example you made with the brackets.
Mhm.
For the brackets, you made an example where that little copy thing was inside the brackets and outside.
Yes.
What's the when you said when it was inside, you said the first letter doesn't have to match or
No.
something. Then
Yeah. So it negates it. So the rule is if I've got A, B, C, D, E inside it, okay, it means that we have to match A, B, C, D, or E. Okay. If I put a little cupcake thingy or what is it called? A Garrett. Okay. So that's Garrett. Hello, Garrett. Good to meet you. So if you put Garrett in there, okay, Garrett is a nasty asshole, nasty person. We can't say asshole anymore. He's a nasty person. So what it does, it negates everything inside the brackets. So that means match
exactly.
A, B, C, D, or E. This means do not match A, B, C, D, or E.
And so when when Garrett is outside the brackets, then what?
When a Garrett is outside the bracket, it means start of line.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, there is the stuff that we talked about earlier. Okay, cool. Okay, so we've got the Garrett. Then we have this little thing here that just means exactly 10. In other words, this, let's just don't take 10 because 10 takes freaking forever to type. So let's just do that. So if I say, will that match yes or no? It will match because we don't have that. Okay, so that one will match. Why will it match?
Because it's any number, like 5 times.
5 times, and because we didn't put the Garrett in front. So if I do that, will it match now?
No, and also, that Garrett, does that mean that it has to start with 0 and end with 9?
No, it can be any number between 0 and 9.
Okay, that's just got a bit confusing.
Yeah, okay. That means the same as this.
No, I get it. But why is it there then? Like, it has to start with a number. Like,
Yes. So this one match. And that one match. It
okay.
has to be
Yeah,
exactly 5
that makes
numbers.
sense now.
So for
Okay.
example, think of an ID number. Okay. An ID number is how many numbers? It's exactly 30 numbers, I think. Let me just count them quickly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's exactly 13 numbers. So if I want to write a program that says match an ID number, I can literally go, well, the other number has to be start with, so it has to be the whole number, and it has to be exactly 13 characters. If it's not like that, it's definitely not an ID number. Okay. So that's, for example,
Okay, it makes sense.
so you can say, but you can go even further than that. You can say, okay, fine, but this has to be a date, so it has to be from 0 to 12. So I can go, well, the first two characters has to be 0 to 9. The second two characters, or the second characters has to be a 1 or a 2. Oh, 0, 0, 0 or a 1. So we're now there. This character can be anything from 0 to 9, and then 0 to 9. And then from here, 0 to 9, and how many characters are left. So we're actually there at the moment. We can even go further. We can say that this one has to be 0 to 3. It will never be outside that. 0 to 9. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters left. Okay. Now this is more complicated, but what I've now done is I've said the first character, the first two characters, okay, can be any characters. Okay, we're assuming a person can be 100 years old. The second has to be a 0 or 1 because we don't have 21 months. We've got 1 to 12 months. The second character can be anything. The third character has to be 0 to 31 because that's a date. Okay, so that one has to be a month. And then the third one is 0 to 9. And then that is just a number. It also has a meaning, by the way, but we'll ignore that for now. So that one will match an ID number. You guys see that or not? It's difficult because, okay, so you can see where these things become important. So we can do stupid things like, just give an idea, enter name and surname. Okay, there's one exception, and that is like Elon Musk's son. But for the rest of us, okay. So the poor guy, because half the systems is not going to be able to handle this stuff. Okay, this is probably, so you're going to say name and surname. Name and surname. So what the assumption we make is we're assuming this, we have Western names. In other words, the person's first name, okay, will start with a capital, and then there'll be at least one character after that. His surname will start with a capital, and there'll be at least one character after that. So if his surname doesn't start with a capital or his name, and now this has a problem because it excludes surnames like Van der Merwe. Okay, but you get the idea in any case.
Okay, and then the plus just is like space or.
Plus means one or more.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. What's the name? One or more. Sorry about that. I don't think we've handled plus, but you get the concept anyway, so it's not a problem. One or more. That's all it means. Just means one or more. Okay.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
You see with the name and surname one, wouldn't it only show the initials? Wouldn't you also have to number how many digits you're going to use?
For this one.
Yeah.
Well, this one just says any name like this. That one will work because we start with a capital and then one or more numbers there. Okay, but if the person says if the person goes, just puts his initial in there, it'll say it doesn't match. So if somebody says, if I ask for your name and surname, you say J, Lamini, J, that one won't work because it's going to match the first one. And it's going to say, but no, wait, hold on, you didn't do. So in other words, you gave me an initial and a name instead of a name and a surname. Okay, that's just an example. You'd probably make this much more complicated than that when you do that. But it's handy for a lot of stuff. So one of the things that you might have is you'd say a place where you use this a lot is you'll say, please enter percentage with only one digit. Then you'll have a regular expression that goes, it has to be 0 to 9, 0 to 9. I'm assuming nobody gets 100%. With a dot and then a 0 to 9. And then it means that you have to type it in like 89.7. Okay. Anything that doesn't look like that doesn't work. So now you can say, okay, but that one is optional. So I put a little question in there. Now it'll accept something like this as well. And then I say, but okay, fine. The guy doesn't necessarily want to put a little dot in there. So what I can do is, and we'll get to this later, I can do this. And that will match any percentage that you can type in from 0 to 99 with one number behind the dot. E dot. Yes, I've got a hand up somewhere. Not.
Sorry, sir. I'd like to ask which chapter is this from?
Say again?
Which chapter is
Chapter
this from?
10.
Sorry?
Chapter 10. Okay. So it's in chapter 10. They handle it very, very lightly, but in the questions that we got asked, it's definitely there. Okay, so that's your matching, whatever. So that's match in character, that's matching in and more characters. This matching between N and M. I just want you guys to start getting the idea of how regular expressions work. You need to go and work out the details and learn it on your own. The reason I'm doing it is because it is asked in the current test, but they are definitely going to ask it in the exam sometime. So we need to sort of get an idea of how these things work and how you can work it out. Okay. Group. Here's another one. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time before we spend too much time on this. Let's just move on to other stuff. Guys, go and look at regular expressions. I've given you the basics, the basic ones. Okay. There's other ones as well. There's a grouping expression. There's an alternative expression as well. Okay. What you also get is there's shortcuts for this. So we got 0 to 9, for example. There's a \D shortcut. Okay. So we spent an hour on this. I don't want to spend more time on this already. We've already gone through this. But it's important that you understand that there is something called a regular expression, and it's something that we use with grep. Okay. It's in chapter 10. Okay, let's go on to something more like this. Let's go on to that one. So we did the grep one there. I think we'll get back to an actual examples earlier, later on, and just get to the other stuff, and then we'll get back to this stuff.
Hi.
Yes.
Can I ask, are these notes on the group?
Are these?
Notes that you've written down now on the
N-
group? Are you
Well,
are you
I
are you
don't know.
so
I don't know if I'm going to put it on there. I haven't decided yet. Takes me a long time to write notes if I do.
okay? Thank you.
Okay. How strong are you guys on scripting?
Like, 50-50. So, yeah, depends on the day.
On the day. You know what? Me exactly. Exactly the same thing. Okay. So one of the things that screws you over if you're not used to it, okay, is that in Bash specifically, with this is Bash scripting, by the way. Okay. The brackets means different things. So this bracket and this bracket and this one means different things. Okay. So this one, and we've already talked about it, means test. This one is advanced test. This one is expansion. This one means arithmetic. Okay. Then there's a couple of characters that they use. Okay, which you probably have seen, and they gloss over it very, very, very little. This means or. This means and. This means background. This means pipe. Okay. I think I want to just discuss this quickly, and then we'll go on to the rest. So, or you know what? I'm not going to discuss this. This we need to sort of go and grab the background. Do you guys? I don't think we've done it in PLA. Do you know what short circuit evaluations are? I'm guessing you don't, because I can't remember that we've done it in any class at any time. Okay. So here is the principle. So we know that in PLA we've learned that if we've got a true or a true, okay, that'll be a true. If we've got a true or a false, that'll be a true. If we've got a false or a true, we will have a true. If we've got a false or a false, we will have a false. Okay. Now, short circuit evaluation means that the moment we know what the answer is, we can stop. So, if the first character is true on an OR statement, okay, we don't need to evaluate the second character. Okay, that's called short circuit. Okay, if the first one is true, we know it's going to be true. It doesn't matter what the second one is. So we can literally do this. Let's make that a question mark. Okay, because it will always be true. Okay, if we've got an or in there. And you've got the same thing with and. If we've got false and false, it'll be false. If we've got false and true, it'll be false. If we've got true and false, it'll be false. And true and true, it'll be true. For this one, it's the same thing. If I have the first character as false, it doesn't matter what the second character is going to be. It'll always be false. Okay. So what they do, especially in Unix, you'll see it a lot, is that they use that to do something. So they'll instead of going if whatever 9 equals 10, and then Echo, elo, fi, they'll go okay, because if this is false, that will not execute. If this is true, okay, it has to check for the second one to make sure that it works. Okay, so this is the same as if then. And you get the same here, and they'll do this as well. Okay. Okay, so in scripting, when you look at scripts, you'll see that people do that. Okay, I just want you to understand that there is a way that that's the reason why this is legal. It's because it uses short circuit. It looks at that. If that's a false, it won't even execute the rest. If that is true, it will execute that. The same with an OR. If this is true, it won't even bother to execute that. If this is false, it will execute the next part. Okay, just something that you need to know because it is used a lot. Okay, so let's go and test these ones quickly in the bash script. So let's open up a bash script. I think let's take a 5-minute break. I just need to get something to drink and then we'll continue. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about a concept. So thumbs up those that know what a pipe is, thumbs down that don't know what a pipe is. Okay. So in the very first time we started doing like these little study sessions, I talked about that one of the basics Unix philosophies is that we want to use small utilities that do one job instead of a lot of big ones. Okay. Now the problem with small utilities that does one job is exactly that. It does one job. It doesn't do 700 jobs. It does exactly one job. So if I want to do anything complex, okay, I have to have multiple applications to do the same job. And I have to find a way for these applications to be able to talk to each other. In other words, I have to be able to chain these applications together. Okay. And the way that we do that is with something called a pipe. So in Unix, remember we said that everything in Unix is a file. Okay. Now, every application that you ever open in Unix will always open with 3 files attached to it. Okay. It'll open with something called standard in. It will open with something called standard out. And it'll open with something called standard error. Okay. Those are the 3 files that's at all times attached to install. Okay, there we go. That's always attached to a Linux system. Actually, let me just do interactive. Okay. Now, all that a pipe does the following. A pipe takes the output of the one application and attaches it to the input of the other application. Okay, that's what a pipe does. That's as simple as it is. And the pipe symbol is 2 dashes on top of each other. Well, that thing is installing. Let me just go back to the thing and I'll just show it to you, and then we are going to experiment and play with it a bit. Oh, there you go. Okay. So that is your pipe symbol. So what I can do is I can do, for example, that. I've got two utilities. I've got ls. What does ls do?
It lists.
It lists the directory. Okay. Three. Okay. And what does sort do? It's quite obvious. Sort stuff. Okay.
I think it's sort stuff.
Okay. So I've got two utilities. So now what I can do is ls, when it prints out, standard out, I can attach to sort. What will that do? So I've got this LS's output, and I'm making it sort's input. So what now happens is I've got, if I list my files, my files are KJSAV. Okay, so that is the output to sort. It takes that, it pipes it into sort, and it comes up with a S and V. It's all nicely sorted out. So you can attach the output of one application into the input of another application. That is what pipe does. Okay, this is extremely standard fare in the Unix world. Okay, we use it all the time. So I'm just typing my password for the installation quickly. Install. Okay. Questions about that? Because we're going to play with it just now, and you need to sort of understand this concept when you start playing with it. Okay. So it's a simple concept. It's not a difficult concept to know, but it's called pipe, and that's what it does. Okay, we'll get to that one here. Where are we? Ta-da. T short circuit, pipe, regular expressions, grep and find. Now, again, these two commands, grep and find. Okay. Let's talk about grep quickly. So grep, there's a cool story about it, but I'm not going to repeat the stories. Okay. Grep stands for global regular expression print. Okay. Anybody want to hazard a guess at what grep does? Tatejo, come on. Hazard a
Can you
guess.
say what it stands for again?
Global regular expression print.
Is it like what we just did now?
Yes.
That was regular expression, and then
Exactly what it does. So all the regular expressions we did now is remember we did by hand and we said if it's a whatever. So all that grep does is you give it an input file, you run it through grep. Okay, you give grep a regular expression. Okay, and what it does is it only outputs the file that matches the regular expression. That's what it does. That's what grep does. Very simple utility. Okay. The difficult part is this freaking regular expression there is what screws everybody up.
I'm not sure if it's just me, but I can't see your screen.
I can't just, you know why you can't see my screen?
Yeah, you're not sharing your screen.
Because I'm not sharing my screen.
Okay.
Let me just share that. Sorry, I did try and share it, and then yeah. So there we go. So I did type it in for you guys to remember. There we go. So grep stands for global regular expression print. You have basically an input. You give it a grep with the regular expression, and then it prints out all the lines that matches that regular expression. Okay. So while my computer is installing, I'm gonna just use the other one that I use in class normally. I don't like using that one for demonstration purposes because it doesn't work that well, that nicely. Just find it quickly here. There we go. So let me just stop my sharing there. I'm going to start experimenting with these things to show you that it actually does work. Okay, so this one here. I know, let's have a look. Ah, there it is. Okay, so remember, so let's just work with the file that we all know, password file. So there's my password file. Okay, remember we had a couple of commands that we can use. We can use cat on this file, and we say cat, and we put the password file in, and it's there. Okay, so I said that's a pipe symbol. Okay, and then I say sort. What will happen? It'll sort my characters. See, this is where I started. It'll sort it in alphabetical order. Okay, this is an important concept. So you've got the pipe symbol there. So it means take this thing's output, make it sorts input. Okay, but I can go further. I can say, but take sorts output and put it into cut field 1 du. Okay, guys, I want who's here. So we Nita, make a big guess. What will they do? This, by the way, is the type of question you'll get in the exam.
I don't know, honestly.
Come on, work through it piece by piece. What does cat password do? Come on, take a wild guess. You don't have to be correct. Nita, don't be scared. Mickey, do you want to try?
Okay. So I know cat pass WD. It shows you the users.
Yes, it shows
And
you
then
the start
sort,
print. Yeah.
sort it like sort it out. Cat. I'm just gonna cut from F1 to D. C D E F. So maybe it's gonna take everything that starts with F1 and D out, like it deletes it from the sort.
Okay,
I
that's a good.
guess.
That's a good one. What cut does? Okay, you did it in class, by the way. Is it says cut field 1 delimited. What is that? Colon. Okay, so it cuts field 1 delimit colon. Do you have a better idea what it does now?
No, we haven't done it yet.
No, you did. You did it in class.
Not our class.
Is that not in your class? Or
Not
maybe you
yet.
just don't remember. Okay, so what cut does is it takes a line, okay, and it cuts out a part of that line. In this case, I'm telling it cut out field number 1. Okay, cut out field number 1 using colon as a delimiter. In other words, I'm saying this line is split up into different fields. Remember, we talked about fields in PLA, okay, and they are separated by colons. So when I'm saying cut field 1 delimiter colon, it means cut the first word of the thing. So that's the original output, and I'm telling it cut out just that word. So what does that give me? That just gives me the names. Okay. So I said, take the password file, output it, sort it, and then cut out the name. So now it gives me all the names, all the usernames in my system with the delimiter colon. Okay. Is there any tattletales here? I have to switch off the recording for this now. Because I'm going to give you, okay, let me not tell you.
There's no tattletales here.
Okay, so here's the question. I want to know everybody, all the users that uses bash as its shell. How would I go about doing that? All the users that use bash as a shell. Okay, so we know that we can get all the users by doing that. Okay, we know that tells me what the shell is. So if I do this, if I say do that, remember grep only prints out the lines where the regular expression bash. So if I put the regular expression say bash, what will happen now? It'll only put all the lines out that has bash as the last couple of characters there. Can you see that? And then I can say, but I want all the users. There we go.
Thank you.
Okay. So again, can you see? So you have to be able. So you took the cat, which is a small command. It does only one thing. It prints out stuff. You did grep, which is a stupid command. It literally just matches bash to every line. And you did cut to do the field. And we can even go further and say, but you know what? I want it sorted. There we go. That's how it works. You start seeing where it gets, what type of stuff you can do with that. Now this is easy. This is for a password file. What happens if I've got a file that's got 1 million records, and you're looking for something specific in that record? So give you an idea. Let's do this. This doesn't have anything fun or interesting on. This one does. So let's do this. Let me show you. You are now seeing my inner domain. This is my actual PC. Okay, so I've got a project here. There's a project. It's called, let's go into the water hero one. So I've got a project here called water hero. Okay, now what I want to do is, now we talked about the grep command already. We've got another command called find, and all that find does is it prints all the files in those subdirectories. And I can list it. I can, for example, say I want only the directories that's directories. It prints all the directories or all the files. Okay, so now I'm saying I want to find a specific command. So say, for example, I want to find all the lines in all my applications, all my Python apps that has the word print in the line. So I can literally go find. It's going to be a file. It's going to have a name with an extension py. I'm going to pipe that into grep print. Okay. And there you go. And that's wrong. What happened here? So what happened here is it did this. And now I set grep print, and those are all the files that's got print in the file name. But I can go further. I can say, okay, fine. If I take that, I want to execute cat And then the output, gonna grep to print. And there's all the lines in all my applications that's got the word print in their specific project. Okay, and again, we took a simple utility, we piped it into a simple utility, and we go, oh, you know what? While we're at it, let's just sort it out. And now it's going to give you a sorted list. Okay, let's see. Let's start with Mickey. Madam Mickey.
Okay.
Okay,
Don't be
so
silly.
you guys are all now experts in regular expressions.
Ooh.
Well, semi-experts. Sort of. Let me rephrase that. Well, you know more. Let me put it this way: you know more about regular expressions than 99% of the population out there. Does that sound better?
Yeah, acceptable.
Out of 100 people, for 100 people, there will be one that might know more than you, which is not too bad. I think it's a good stat.
Yeah.
That's a good stat. Okay. Waiting for my thing. Sorry, my installation is finished on this side, so we should be able to log in now. Okay, there we go. So oh, why they'll not finish. Okay, so I'm going to just do this. Right click there, pin to dash. Okay, there's my thingy. Is it big enough? Can you guys see? Should be able to. It looks reasonable. Okay. Okay, let's stick with the password file. It's actually a bad file to work with. In actual fact, let's do this. Yeah, let's stick with that file. It's fine. So here's the thing. I want to know all the users whose names start with an A, a B, or a C.
Ooh, okay. I think I can do this.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be cat space slash etc slash pass wd space line thing. Yeah.
Pipe, you can just call it a
Grep.
pipe symbol. Yeah.
Oh, it's a pipe. Sorry. Grep. GR. Yeah. You said these starts with an A, B, or C. I think it's
Yes.
square bracket. ABC. Yeah. Oh, wait. Before the bracket, put the. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Those. I think.
Okay, let's see if it works. Yep, it works.
Yay! Okay.
Okay. And now what you can do is you can do this as well. And then it just gives you the names. Well done. I'm impressed.
Thank you. You're a good teacher.
Okay. Let me just go to my things here. Okay, so the two commands that we talked about now is grep. So grep takes a regular expression. Now you can use grep in other ways as well. So for example, instead of cat, we could have just done this. That gives you the same result. So grep can have or just a regular expression or a regular expression with a file name. If you do, for example, grep like this, okay, remember we did a couple of regular expressions and let's just test those regular expressions while we can. So here's a regular expression. So I said this is the regular expression. So we did a regular expression earlier that looks something like this. Mm, okay, that was a regular expression. Okay, so what we can do is we can now test it. We can say if I type a 9, 99.1, and we stop. Okay, let's just have a look here. Why? Let me just try something quickly. Just want to see that I'm not screwing this up. Here we go. Okay. So that was the original regular expression. This expression, by the way, is not working. Okay, so this is actually quite common. So I wrote this regular expression and I expected that to work. Can you see it's not working? Okay, so we did something
Yeah.
wrong. We did something wrong. Okay. So what I so what I normally do is I would do this. I would just break it up into its constituent parts and see where the error was. Okay. Okay, so that's working. If I put a question mark in there, it's not working. Okay, so the question mark is not working. Just want to see something quickly. Okay. And remember I said that the escape is sometimes a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you use grep, for example, the escape character is now switched around. It's not the wrong way around. In other words, this now matches 0, 1 characters. This matches a question mark. So sometimes it's a problem. egrep, so we're going to just use egrep so we can use the original ones. So that one matches. Let's have a look. Okay. So egrep just means for extended grep. It does the same thing. The only difference is it'll now the escape works slightly different. So remember we said, will this work? Yes, that'll work. 1.2, 1.23. Sorry, that doesn't work. 9 works, 90 works. Okay, I did this really quickly. Anybody that didn't follow what I was doing, must I just explain it slowly? Okay, everybody that follows, can I have a thumbs up? Okay. Katejo, are you ready? Are you ready? Narina, hello. I haven't said hello to you yet. Where she disappeared to now? Yes, please talk.
Wait, with the color red, what does it mean? It doesn't mean it means it doesn't include that part.
No, it does include. So what I did is I just tested it. So all it just read, it means that if I type something in here, if it doesn't come back with any, it means it doesn't match. If I type something in there, it means it matched.
Matches.
So all I did is I took this and I took the regular expression that we played with earlier, and I just typed it in just to see if it's matching.
Mm. And then can I ask, sorry if this is relating back to like earlier on, I just need a reminder of what the round brackets do.
It groups.
Or it groups them. Oh, okay.
It groups them together so you can have a group. So instead of having to do, so what happens is if I say grep, let's do this, egrep, ABC, okay. So that'll always obviously match ABC, ABC, it'll match all those, okay. This also matches. Okay, but what I can do is I can do this. So now they're grouped. So what happens is ABC, ABC, because this is a group, you always have to use them together. So if I do AB, ABC, can you see only the last ABC now gets matched? Because those three needs to be matched together.
Oh,
It's just a grouping. So I can use the grouping to do group that, for example, that, which means one or more ABCs, or one or two. So I can do ABC, ABC, ABC. That should only match. There you go.
oh, okay.
And so it's just grouping those ABCs together. That's all it does. Okay. Cool. And we didn't get to scripting yet. We spent 2 freaking hours on grep and freaking regular expressions. I told them it's too complicated. They don't believe me when I tell them. Okay, guys, do you want me to go on to the script? Yeah, I'm not sure. Yes, no, I'm not sure. Okay, let's do that. Let's talk about script quickly. Okay. Unfortunately, with scripting, we literally just need to learn the syntax, but the brackets is the thing that I wanted to sort of discuss with you because they become quite important. So in scripting, square brackets means equivalent to test. Okay, so if I do, for example, if 10 equals 10, then echo 10, else echo not 10. And ask if I. Okay, so square brackets, it's equivalent to the word to the command test. Okay, so if you want to know what you can use within square brackets, you literally just go man, and that's it. So let's do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a script. We'll just create the script in the right directory so we don't break things. Some stuff shell. Okay. And I'm going to do this. Okay. So we did the if statement. We allocate. So what I'm going to do is I'm just do this. Read number. Please enter number. Does this look familiar? It should look exactly like PLA. The command should just be different. Please enter number. Okay. And then we have a square brackets and we say, check the number that I've entered. Okay. If it's equal to 10, then echo, yippee, it's a 10. Else, echo, nope, try again, FI. Okay, it should look very familiar. It should look exactly like what we've done in PLA. You got the F match, you got whatever. The secret one is this square brackets, which means the number that stands for equal, and we have options there. So it could be equal, not equal, greater than, smaller than, or less than, less than, greater or equal to, less than or equal to. Okay, those are what the meanings are. Okay, if you are working with numbers, that's what you would use. If you're working with strings, you're going to have equals and a not equals. Okay, but the basic principle is the same. So we did exactly what we did in PLA. We enter the number. If the number is equal to 1, it prints something in there. Okay, so let's write that out. Mod I plus X, some stuff. This you should all know. This you should know. So I'm entering a number. I'm entering 9. It should say nope, not the number. and 10 it says it's a number. Okay, that's the square brackets. Here's a little secret. That semicolon there means exactly the same as enter. So what I can do is I can put the if and then next to each other, and that should still work. Okay. Yippee, it's a 10. Okay, that's an if statement. Okay, so that's the first bracket that we need to talk about. The second bracket we need to talk about is the curly ones. Ah, there we go. That's the curly brackets. The curly bracket means expansion. So it works like this. Echo 1, okay, or echo 1 to 10. See what it does. Dominique, you figure that one out. Funny, you're still with me. Okay.
So is this like similar to what is it called in PLA? Writing the algorithms.
It's exactly like writing the algorithm. Okay. So the squarely bracket means expand. So what we can do is we can do this. Remember, we had a 4 in whatever. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but we'll find out very soon. I actually think it's not going to work. I'll fix it now. Okay. Can you see what my problem is? So in that K needs to be a dollar because that is a variable. And I think this needs to be dollar as well. Let me just confirm.
Wait, in Linux, don't you have to declare the variable? Oh, never mind. Can you go
Yes.
back to the script?
Say again?
I was asking, can you go back here?
In actual fact, what we can do, see if we can do this. Enter number. Let's try something like this. Let's see if this works. Do you think this can work? Come on. See if it works. Sorry, what's the error?
But won't it be read?
Sorry, no, you're exactly right. Because it's my PLA coming through here. Hey. It's a 10 numbers, 1 to 10. Okay, can you see that didn't work? Okay, so it's important for an expansion that you can't use variables within inside an expansion. So within an expansion, you can use numbers like that, but you can't use a variable within there. Okay, so that won't work because of that expansion there. That expansion, you can't use the thing in. So what can you now do? What's another way to do this? We talked about it in another format that looks like this. Okay, and I can tell you now that's wrong because we need double thingy there, and we need a double thingy there. So we've now touched on square bracket. We've touched on a curly bracket, which is an expansion, and now we're touching on arithmetic expressions. Okay, let me just see if that works. Okay. So, square brackets is a test, curly brackets is expansion, double brackets is arithmetic. So we can do sums. Let me just see if that works. I can use an echo and I can echo the variable there. Okay. So was that correct? I didn't get the right answer. It should be 20 plus 10, 30 minus 5. It should be 25. Why am I getting a 5 there? Because I'm using K, sorry. Hey, number. Guys, you should have seen that. That's better. Okay, that's been 2 hours. I think let's go do something else. Okay, guys. For the 4 people that's left, thank you for being here. So we literally just touched on regular expressions. Is there anything that you guys want to ask that you want me to quickly just help you with before we leave?